Welcome to the show, everybody. Nice to have you here today with me and my friend Anton again. Anton, how are you doing?
Doing very well, and great to have you on Sunday, and it's going to be a blast. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Our today's topic is LinkedIn. So we are on this platform more than 2 years now. And what we are going to do for today is to share our experiences for our audience because we know that some people succeed, some people are struggling. And today we are nothing holding back and share our experiences, our wins, and how people can learn from that.
And I think you were very politically correct and neutral, like Swiss. You said many people try, some fail, some succeed. I would say 99% of people fail, few succeed. And I think here we want to share the story, the best practices, and kind of what works to succeed.
Perfect. So today we have the 11th of January 2026, and yeah, let's go through it.
Yeah. Let me go to the first slide. Yeah. A little
Exactly.
bit. Yeah. Maybe you can just say one word about this. Yeah. Agenda.
Yeah, so agenda is pretty simple. Intro about me and Anton, what we achieved so far, and then approximately 30 minutes about the insights for LinkedIn and last 25 Q&A.
Okay. Here you go.
I will give you the word.
Okay, who are we? So, yeah, I think in this context, I could say like I'm a person that. So I've been posting on LinkedIn now for 3 years, almost 3 years, more than two for sure. And basically, I write articles, posts, content about crypto industry. So predominantly crypto industry, technology, finance, fintech, and yeah, it's been an amazing experience. I think you have here some. Snapshots, of proof that we're doing very well. So you can maybe see some posts here that perform really well. So basically, I know how to create content on LinkedIn that gets a lot of views. So long story short, yeah, maybe I pass the word to you now.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you are doing amazing. So you started 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, and now you have round about 61,000 followers. So you are really crushing it.
Slowly.
Some words about me. Yeah, me and Anton, we are doing that together, kind of. So we are challenging ourselves. And yeah, after 2 years about learning how content writing works, because previously I haven't done that at all. Zero experiences, was everything learning by doing. And now, yeah, we can really call it, we are engineering content in order try it to make it really useful for the audience. And some of that really great hits, so about 100K impressions. And yeah, this is kind of learned how to write content. Yeah, of course we have the algo in the behind, but most of the time people are reading interesting content. Yeah. So that's
Faruk,
the reason we are doing great, kind of, but we are always eager to learn.
yes, yeah. Faruk, just to add there, because I think you're again very humble, Swiss style. So you said that you and I do it together, that we're challenging each other. So let me maybe add some more color to that. So you're the reason for the great execution that I have on this platform. So for everybody, who's wondering, how come Anton keeps on posting for many years now and gets a lot of views, and who is making him, do this amazing work? It's Faruk. So
Thank you very
don't be
much.
so humble.
Thank you
Brag a
very
little.
much.
You are the reason for this big
I
number.
really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Anton.
Okay. I go to the next slide. Yeah.
Let's go. Yes, goals is always important, no matter what you do in your private life, in your business life, but also on the platforms, on social media. And what we really can recommend is you have to know what you want, and you can have really different goals. And you can have goals as, for example, like gaining followers. You can have goals as, for example, selling services, products, and you have to be clear what you want. You want to add something on that, Anton?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. And also, then let's say you have a goal. Your goal is to sell a product or a service, right? That either from your company or your own, right? Then obviously, everything that you do on LinkedIn, but or any other platform will be very different than if you want to actually build a personal brand, let's say, right? And even like to say it like very bluntly, when you're creating content to sell a product and service, somewhere in the content there will be like, contact me if you want to buy this service, right? But if you're creating content, to get followers, maybe as a part of your content, there will be, say, follow me for more of this content, right? So the thing that you do, the articles that you create, the videos that you create are very different than depending on what is your goal. I think that's also like an important thing to add there. And then also the outcome is different. So if your goal is to get purely, I want to get as much followers as possible, so I want to create distribution, then this is where you will excel, right? If you want to sell your product, so where you're going to then excel is getting revenues or getting income by selling that product. So I think like goal defines that what you do, and then also then define is the outcome. And usually you cannot get all of it together. It just doesn't work.
On point. I would like to add here something very important, that people know how to set goals and what is important to consider. So if we speak about goals, right? So there is a really easy formula how to set goals. And this formula, I believe that people heard about that. It's called SMART. So that means every goal you set should be SMART in a sense of specific, measurable, attractive, realistic, and determined, right? So that means the goal you have must be specific in a sense of you want a more revenue, you want a more follower, whatever you want, you have to be specific about your goal. This is the first point. The second point is you have to make it measurable. In a sense, you want a more revenue, so you have to have a number behind your goal. Why? Because you want to measure it. And then the goal needs to be attractive and realistic, obviously, and you have to have also a date behind your goal. So per when you want to achieve this goal. Mm-hmm. So a real day, kind of the 31 of March 2026, I want to gain 10K more revenue or 10K followers. So yes. Why is that important? Because you have a dependency on yourself. So because of you want to achieve something you promise to yourself. And the second point is you have to make it measurable in the sense of behind every goal there are action points, because you cannot just rely on your goals. You have to have action points which are heading you to your goal, and you have to make that measurable. You have to have numbers behind it, because after every actions you get numbers as a feedback. If you do actions in the sense of you are creating content and you will have K impressions, then you know your actions are really useful. But if you don't get numbers as feedback, then you obviously know that your actions are not that useful, and you have to adapt your actions for your goal. So that's all what I wanted to add on that.
Awesome. Let's go ahead. Next. Very philosophical. I leave this to you.
Yeah, true. So LinkedIn is a marathon, not a sprint, obviously, for all platforms. There is no zero success overnight. So if people are expecting after 3 months really huge results, forget about that. So this means you have to think sustainable. So in the sense of if you are starting a project, this project will take a couple of months and years. So me and Anton, we are doing that now more than 2 years. So that means in my world, this is going to exist from now on my whole life. So this means it's part of my life. So social media and LinkedIn in specific. So that means started as a sprint probably and realized afterwards, okay, it's not that easy, but now there is a compounding effect behind. This will hit and this comes. So the first 10K followers may be difficult, but after 10 to 20, probably easier, because you are in touch with this platform every day. So see that not as a sprint, but as a marathon.
Yes, yeah. Maybe if we have some people in the audience, maybe you can write in the chat, how long have you been doing writing articles on LinkedIn or doing content, if you have been doing it. And because I think we would love to hear, from the audience as well, kind of what's their experience. But I agree with Faruk. Basically, just to say, like, I've been doing this now for a couple of years, I think like 3 years now, or 2.5, let's say. And if you think about it, I'm doing it every day for 2.5 years. So even if you don't know a lot about sprints or marathon, you would definitely say this is definitely a marathon, right? Because doing it for so long every day, it means you have to have consistency. You just have to keep on doing it, keep on doing it, keep on doing it, because it's very unlikely. Like, I don't know a lot of people who have managed to achieve their goals on these social media platforms within a week. Like, I don't know these people, right? Or it's very, very rare, and it's usually a coincidence, and coincidences are very, very rare. So take it like how Faruk said it. It takes a lot of time. Just keep on doing it, but also you have to do it in the right way. And I think that's the next kind of point about our what we are talking about today, like how to run this marathon in the right way, so you look like these beautiful runners on the picture and not exhausted after a couple of miles, you know? So let me move to the next slide. Is it okay, Faruk?
Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
Yes, this is really a generic topic because of it's important to have really great profile, because if everyone so if somebody is seeing your profile, the first thing they look at it is your background, it's your profile picture, it's your name, and the hyperlink which you have below your profile picture. Yeah. So this is really a simple thing, but it's important. So this is kind of underestimated, but also important. You want to add something here, Anton?
I was hoping you would explain why my profile is perfectly optimized or something before you give me the world, but maybe I can just add one thing. So the reason why this part is very important, like your profile on any platform, doesn't matter if it's LinkedIn or not, is because that's where people land when they click on your name. So if I'm like anyone in the audience, like if I find you on LinkedIn and I see, this is such an interesting person for whatever reason, if I click on your name, like this is what I will end up on this stuff, right? So this is the first thing I see about you. It is my first impression about you. Just imagine when you meet people in person, your first impression is how they look like, right? How they talk, you know, this first 5-10 seconds. So it's the same on LinkedIn. Your first 5-10 seconds that you have to leave an impression on someone is in this profile, right? And here, I think Faruk will not explain, like there's a beautiful, nice picture of me smiling on the left. Then there's like this top banner and there's some like other stuff. So it's important. That's kind of basically why we need to optimize to make it look amazing. Go, Faruk.
Yes, I would like to add small information about the stuff below the picture and the name. So there we have the feature section, there we have information about you, all this. And I always preach to keep your stuff simple. So it means I will not overload your feature section. In our case, for example, we have only the link to our newsletter. So I see sometimes people are really overloading this section with the best performing posts and all this to gain social proof, but it's more important to build a proper funnel with these features, because if you overload, there are already a lot of information on your profile. So we don't want to confuse people who are landing on your profile. So that means they should know the important stuff about you, what you do, who you are, where you are located, and one hyperlink to where you want that these people land. It can be your website, it can be your newsletter, it can be your YouTube channel, whatever it is. But keep your funnel really simple and logically. So, and the about you information, you are able to really write 2000 letters-ish approximately. And in my point of view, that's too much. Really, also there, keep it simple, keep it short. Just the most important thing people need to know about you, and that's it. So, and obviously, if you're scrolling more down, then you have your skills, your languages you speak, also useful to add this, but most of the people, when they scroll, they are staying at the top and in the middle section and your content. So that means keep all this stuff simple. And that's all what I wanted to add.
Okay, got it. Let me just write a bit in the chat.
Yeah, sure. Welcome everybody. Happy that you're here. If you have any questions, exactly, just drop them in the comment section and we will be happy to answer them afterwards.
Yeah. Awesome. I have nothing to add. I think you explained it perfectly. So keep it simple. I think also you mentioned certain things that people might not have. So just to reflect on that, because Faruk, you mentioned like, where do you want your visitors of your profile to land. And maybe you are thinking now and you would say, well, I have nowhere to land, right? I just want them to go on my profile and kind of stay there. Maybe you want to, that's maybe your point, right? So maybe Faruk, what would you recommend then people do, right? Let's say here it says Anton's newsletter, right? I don't know if people can see it on my platform. So if people want to do something more on my profile, they can, for instance, go and read my newsletter. But what if people don't have anything? What would you recommend them? What should they do there?
Yeah. So really think about what you want where people should land. So this is the only possibility that LinkedIn provides you to jump to another platform, because if you have the view of the platforms, no matter which platform it can be Instagram, YouTube, X, Snapchat, whatever, TikTok, they want to keep their users on the platform. This is the goal they have. And this makes sense. Of course, you don't want to that your users and visitors go to other places. Absolutely. But the only feature that LinkedIn is providing you that people can jump to another platform is this hyperlink. And also in the feature section, you can also add there a link. But yet now in this context, it's just a hyperlink here. And if you don't use this opportunity, then you are missing something, because a lot of people are clicking on that hyperlink. So that means I recommend to think about where people should land if they visit your profile. So that means in our example, we are redirecting them to our newsletter, but you can also redirect them to your website and your YouTube channel, whatever it can be. But use this opportunity.
Yeah. Farooq, sorry, just to ask you again, let's say people don't have a newsletter. They don't have a website. They don't have YouTube channel. They have nothing. What then? Would you recommend them to create something then? Or would you not recommend them to create? Would you just recommend them to remove it? Like, what's the goal there? Because I can just imagine a lot of people maybe don't have their own personal website or newsletter. What to do then?
Coming back to the slide, the previous slide,
Yeah.
and think about your goals and think about what you want to achieve, and use this opportunity, the hyperlink, to strengthen your goal. So if your goal is then to gain new email addresses, then start creating a newsletter, because you have the followers on LinkedIn, but these followers are only your followers. So you don't own these email addresses. It's all on LinkedIn's database. So if you want to start to have a tighter interaction with your audience, then start control your audience and then start with your newsletter. But it comes back to your goals. What do you want to achieve? And as soon you know that, then start strength the hyperlink based on the goal you have.
Okay.
What do you think about?
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. For a lot of people who are actually, for instance, let's say they're in the service and products businesses. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. But I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of a person. Let's say they use LinkedIn to get a job. They use LinkedIn to connect with their colleagues in their industry. I think maybe then the hyperlink doesn't make much sense, to be honest. Like, I'm just trying to create an alternative scenario where a person works at a company, they have a job, maybe they want to get a better paying job. They don't have a personal website, they don't have newsletter. So I'm thinking, like, what would I then do there, right? Or if you don't know what to create, I think there are only two options there. Either you talk to a person like you, Farooq, and you give them advice what to then create. But in other cases, then I would just recommend you don't do it, right? Because then it's just a distraction, right? For everybody, for you, because you don't even know what to create now. Why should you, like, let's say you want to get a better job now, you have a job, you want to get a better job. Why would you then, basically put a hyperlink to your YouTube channel where you never put anything on YouTube, right? It doesn't get you closer to the goal of getting a job, right? So I'm just thinking like about that. So I think if you don't know what to put there, you are not in the products and services businesses, you're just a normal person using LinkedIn maybe to get jobs and to connect with other people. I think then you should not put it, basically. Leave the profile as it is.
Perfect.
Okay, boom. Awesome. Next slide, yeah?
Exactly. Yeah, let's speak about content pillars.
Yeah.
So if you already know how to rate content, then making it interesting for your audience what you write about. So if you only write about one thing, I believe this will be annoying for some people. So if you just write always about, I don't know, to bring an example about, for example, personal development. So only one topic, it can be,
Farooq,
go ahead.
can I jump in and give an even worse example?
Go
Imagine
ahead.
you
If
have
you
a
have
product.
a better, worse example,
Imagine you have a product and every article you write or post you write is about buy my product, and you don't even explain what the product is. We just say buy my product. Maybe this is a worse example if you want to use it as an
exactly.
analogy.
Exactly. So it's a much better example. Yeah. So if you just write about one thing, this will annoy a lot of people. So I recommend to think about the content pillars you want to write about. It can be really almost anything, but think about it, what you want. But it should be interesting for you. So write about stuff you are interested in, because it's nothing better there. We as humans, we all are individuals. So there is no second Anton, there is no second Faruk, there is no second Kalim, there is no second Marie. So you as a person, you're interested in some topics, and you have also knowledge about that. So then think about what I'm interested in and what I want to share about. Okay, it can be that in the first 2-3 months that nobody is liking and commenting, but believe me, after a while, after a time of consistency, you will find your spot. You will find it. So, but it comes back to consistency and compounding effect. So, and if you have an offer, for example, already, if you have pros in the chat and they have already services and products they sell, there is this recommendation, keep 80% and even 90% of your content about the topics you write about, and just pitch 10% or 20% in your content about your product and services, and not annoy people, as Anton mentioned, with your product and services. So that's what I can add to the content pillars. But really think about it, what you're interested in. You are individuals. Not everyone is like you, and you will find your spot that people think similar as you, and try to interact with them.
Awesome. Farooq, maybe you can then share what are your content pillars.
My content pillars, exactly.
How do you do it?
In the beginning, my first year of LinkedIn, I can just go a little bit to the history. My first year, I was writing only about personal development, and really simple stuff that almost everyone knows on LinkedIn. So, and this was not that special because.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you give an example? What does it mean, personal development? Can you explain a bit more what it means?
Personal development means how to improve yourself as a person. If you follow, for example, more objectives, that probably you are going to achieve nothing, because you have too much objectives. So focusing is key, kind of all this stuff. So, and then I noticed it too late, because I was a newbie on this platform, and thought, okay, after with this basic and standard fluffy stuff, people are going to interact. But this was really fluffy. There was nothing new that people not knew about it. So, and then, as I mentioned in the goals of the second slide or third slide in this presentation, the measurements of your post gives you feedback in a sense of the engagement, the comments, and the impressions. And if after 6 months, when I started all this, I recognize, man, I write content, I do stuff, but it's lacking on performance. I don't get the performance I wish. And then I started to rethink. Then I started to really write about stuff where I'm interested in. And coming back to your question, Anton, I'm interested about economics. I'm interested about digitalization, and I'm interested about DeFi, all this Web3 crypto stuff. So, and since then, I changed my strategy. Our content, are performing much, much better, because I'm myself. I write what I'm interested in. And since then, everything changed. So my recommendation is, that's why, think about what you are interested in as a person, as you, that you are not, that you feel boring about it. And then you will really notice that something will also change in your content performance. Back to you, Anton. Your
Awesome.
content pillar, what do you write about?
Yeah.
What are your content pillars?
Yeah, so I mean, first, just to say, Faruk, I think for everybody who is listening to this, you made a very good point, right? So find something that interests you, that you want to write about. And I will also, and you said also that makes you unique or comes from your unique experiences. Maybe I will actually kind of frame it a bit different. You ideally on LinkedIn, you want to have a monopoly on a topic. Like ideally, you are the only person on LinkedIn talking about an important topic, and your opinion is completely different from everyone else. I think that's the ideal way how you can think about how to find a place for yourself where you're not writing about whatever everybody else is writing about, right? And so now to answer your question, and I'll be very concrete. So I write about three things. I write about stablecoins a lot, so it's crypto. I write about stablecoins, and I'm the only person who says that stablecoins are not used by retail people, by everyday people, that stablecoins are for big investors. And that's very controversial because I'm the only person saying that, and obviously I have data that backs it up, but I'm the only person saying it's not, stablecoins are not important for everyday people, it's for big professional traders, and I'm the only person saying that. Then the second thing, my content pillar, is I talk about RWAs, real world assets. So again, it's crypto, right? And I'm a person who always says this is the next big thing in crypto. So not all this other stuff, not NFTs, not stablecoins, but I say this is the next big thing. And my third pillar that I write a lot about is I talk about strategy, about Michael Saylor, about digital asset treasury. So this is this topic. And I was for 1 year saying this is a horrible product, everybody will lose money. And thankfully I was right, with my things. So these are my three content pillars. Like these are the three topics that I write about, but I have a very specific position for each of these topics, right? And that makes me very unique from everyone else. And even when people see me in person at a conference or somewhere in the street in Dubai, they stop me. They say, Anton, I read your content where you said that Michael Saylor is doing bad and everybody will lose money. You were right. Great job. I really like what you do, right? So not only am I taking a topic for the content, I'm also making it very unique by having a unique position and usually different from everyone else.
Thank you very much, Anton. Excellent.
Next slide.
Really, yeah. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
Yes. The next slide is about AIDA formula. It's really a simple formula. So we spoke already about the objectives, to set the objectives in a smart formula. The second formula is about AIDA. AIDA means, in short, attention, interest, desire, and action. And if you start really brand new with LinkedIn, you are starting to gain awareness, so attention of people. And this is what it's all about. Everything starts with awareness, everything starts with attention. And if you really write good content, focus on that, focus on how to catch people's awareness, because it's not that easy anymore, because we have that much information today. We have an overload of information. It's not easy to gain people's attention. And being aware on this platform, and it's not easy. And you have it's everything what we say about content writing, content pillars to be unique. It's everything about awareness and attention. So this is, you see, also it's at the end, it's a funnel. So everything starts with awareness and it ends with action, and the action can be then at the end subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to your YouTube channel, or buy these product and services. So it can be everything you are trying to make people act on your desire, and that's it. And you have to think always in this formula that everything, it's about awareness and attention.
Yeah. Okay.
You would like to add something on that, Anton?
No, I think it's you added perfectly. Maybe just to add is that the reason why this formula works is because each article that you create or a video that you create, the algorithm is testing for all of these things there, right? So the algorithm is testing, when they show it to a few people, is anybody even is this something that is even mildly does it have a potential to actually be interesting for many people, right? And then once the kind of algorithm says, yes, that's the case, and then they want to show it to more people. And then they will show it to the people who are actually interested in that topic, right? So if you're writing about, what's happening in the US in the elections, right? They will not show it to people who don't care about US elections, right? So that's why, this inverted pyramid that Faruk has nicely made here, it also resembles how the algorithm of LinkedIn thinks about content and how it actually then shows it to as many of the right people. That's the only thing I would add.
Excellent.
Okay,
Excellent.
good. Next step.
And then we have on the right side again this AIDA formula, but now the question is how to gain this awareness of people, because everything starts with content and everything starts with awareness. So that means that if we write content on LinkedIn, we have to think about what do people see first. So this is the first question we have, and what people see first is the picture and the hook. So that means we have to make this really interesting, that we can catch the awareness of our audience. So that means pictures that never exist before, in the best case, a hook that it's interesting for people to read the content. And Anton, let me ask you, how do you write your content? What do you consider while writing a content?
Okay, can you explain what you mean by that? Like in what sense?
In what sense, if you have a topic to write about,
yeah,
and then with what do you usually start? Are you starting with the hook? Are you starting with the picture?
Very good point. So, wow, that's a very good point. So to be honest, like I'm now just reflecting like how I usually write content. I don't think I start with the picture. I add the picture at the end, once I know what I wrote about and I think like something cool and interesting, then, I think like that, then I find a picture. But to be honest, like the first thing that I need is like, what is the topic of the what I want to write about, right? And like the text. Only after I know what's the text, then I create the title. You call it the hook, but it's the title, is the thing at the top, right? And at the end, I find a picture, the right picture for my text, and call to action. So CTA means call to action. I sometimes put it at the end of the post, right? So to be honest, I start with the text. Like I start with the topic. What is it that I want to write about? Then I create like this text. Then I maybe adapt it a little bit. Then I create the hook, so the thing on the top, the title, and then I find the picture for the. How does my process look like?
Amazing. You do it in the same way. So I start always with a topic. So if I see a topic which is interesting to me, I'm grabbing it up and then I'm writing the content, and I try to keep the content short. So, and then I'm focusing about the hook. So, and I make the hook interesting as possible. And what does that mean? Interesting. So interesting is a broad word, right? So what means interesting? And interesting is using bold words in a sense of this is brutal what is going to happen, or this is very silly of this person XY of a company, for example. Or I'm using really huge numbers like million, billion, trillion. And obviously this needs to be fact-based, so you can't just think about numbers. You have to really deliver these also as a fact, but you have to use these strong numbers into your hook. So bold words on the one hand, on the other hand, you have huge numbers. So, and this makes the hook first of all interesting. So this is the definition to me what makes the hook interesting, and this works. This is backed with our viral contents we wrote. And then starting the content itself, keep the content short. I will tell you then afterwards why it's important to keep the content short. And the third point is then the CTA. What do you want at the end of the content that people should do? I have right now two strategies on that. One of them is, what are your thoughts to spark the conversation with the audience, or redirect people to my newsletter if they want to see other contents. So this is the CTA on my side. And then I'm starting with a picture. And what I do with pictures, I don't go on Google only and pick one and paste it. I have a different strategy which works very good, because I try to make the picture itself unique about the topic. And what I'm Anton and doing is that we are picking pictures from the internet. It can be Reddit, it can be Google, whatever, wherever it is. And then I'm editing the picture, finding a second picture which also is interesting for the topic itself. We glue them together and make it as one picture. Then we have one unique picture with two pictures we glued together, edited it, and then we are pasting them on the content. And that's the thing what we do. And
Awesome.
this works good.
Awesome.
That's it, what I can add.
I think it would be great now, Faruk, to have an example, a successful
Sure.
example of that. Should I share it? Yeah.
I will share it. Directly, because it's also backed with numbers. Just let me share my screen. So share screen, and then here we have it right here. So please let me know, Anton, if you see it. Okay, amazing. So here we have 3 contents which performed really well in the last couple of months. And I will really focus on the second one. So I wrote that approximately one month ago, and the topic was about Robert Kiyosaki. He was selling his bitcoins at 9K, and then my question was in the hook as well: is the poor or confused dad? So, and this was a sarcastic question, obviously, and we have a number which is K when bitcoins won back then at 90. And we have this popular person, Robert Kiyosaki. So,
Faruk,
go ahead.
Can you explain, like, why are you showing it here now like this?
Yeah.
And not clicking on the topic?
I will afterwards.
But I think you're trying to say is this is how the post looks like.
Exactly.
People see it on the feed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
this is the people, how they see it in their feed with show more button.
Yeah.
And right here, the content performed at 270,000 back then, and performed very well with 414 or 15 likes, with 306 comments and 13 reposts. So, and if people think this is interesting to them, they click on that button, because this is what they see on their feed. So, and as soon as they see it, they click on show more. Then we have the whole content right here. So then we have it short.
So Faruk, maybe just to add, so for everyone who is listening, why is this so? Because Faruk, you were mentioning many times hook, right?
Yes.
But you actually now also demonstrated that hook has to be short. You cannot write something in 10 lines, like a sentence of 10 lines, because the way that these articles work is that it's only a couple of lines on the top are shown, right? So it's very important that the hook is very powerful. You deliver all these numbers, famous names, something really powerful, but it has to be very short within this couple of lines, right? Sorry,
exactly.
I passed the word to you.
Exactly. Absolutely true. So keep it short but interesting. Then I don't go line by line, but at the end we have the CTA, what are the thoughts, and then the redirect to the newsletter. So, and I mentioned about the picture, we glue them together. So this means I have above the picture of Robert Kiyosaki, this popular person, and below we have the Bitcoin picture, which is falling, and I glue them together and have it as one picture. And this works amazing.
Congrats.
Yes. Thank you very much. This is
Sorry,
an example
Kalim
for our
said
audience.
that the screen is black. Kalim, do you still see it?
Okay, the screen is black. I will try to share it again. Thank you for the hint, Karim. So, I hope audience sees it. So, it's now better, Kalim? Lindsay says it looks good here.
I see it now, yeah. I see it.
Okay, perfect. So, yes, perfect. Again, we have the hook, as mentioned, Kalim. Keep it short with interesting numbers. And then I don't go line by line. And then we have the CTA with your thoughts to spark the conversation. And then the redirect to the newsletter. And then the 2 pictures we glued together, above Robert Kiyosaki and below the Bitcoin pictures, glue them together as one picture. And this is performing good, almost, for the contents which are really interesting for the audience. Yes, then I hand it over back to you to share the screen, Anton, if
Okay,
possible.
just one moment.
And then we have more, I believe, one last slide about the LinkedIn algo, which is also important. To speak a little bit about the LinkedIn algorithm, because I hope everyone can see the screen.
Yep.
Please just let us know. Yes, LinkedIn algo. So people are really annoyed about the algo because people say my posts don't perform. They changed again the algo. What can we do? And all this. And let me tell you this. It is annoying. It is. But the question is, what is in our control? What can we change? So because we can obviously change the LinkedIn algo, it's impossible. Yeah. So that means, what can we change? And I saw really huge profiles with 100, 200, 300K followings, and they are complaining about the LinkedIn algo. They do. And I'm surprised about that. But let me tell you this. It seems that LinkedIn don't care about the following you have. It's more caring more about what you write about, how you write about. So, and let me tell you just that, keep it short. The LinkedIn algo is changing oft, felt all months. It's changing. And the only thing you can do is adapt fast. So you recognize, you notice that the algo is changing. Okay, fine. Let's push, let's proceed, let's try to adapt in small increments to make the content much better. This is the only thing you can do. If we sit and complain, nothing is going to change. But if you adapt your content and make it more better each time, then you will succeed. There is no question about it. I am handing over the words to you, Anton.
I think there's some questions, just to say, what is the purpose of the platform changing the algorithm? Simply to mix things up or stay interesting to the audience? So I will maybe answer this from a business perspective. So Lindsay, thanks a lot for the question. I will try to answer this from a business perspective. The platform is always optimizing the algorithm to keep you as long as possible on the platform. So Lindsay, to answer your question, is because they want to show interesting things to the audience, interesting articles and posts to the audience. Because if they're showing you a lot of interesting articles, imagine, Lindsay, it's like so amazing, so interesting, you end up being whole day on the platform. And what can then LinkedIn do? LinkedIn can show you ads. So other companies, they're running ads on LinkedIn, they can show you those ads, and then they charge these companies for those ads. So the answer is they're always optimizing for you to stay as long as possible on the platform. That's basically it, because then they can show you ads, and then they charge some other companies who want to show you ads. They charge those companies for showing ads. So this is my understanding, and it works, to be honest, right? They have a very good algorithm. Of course, they're always improving it, and sometimes it's better, sometimes less better, but that's what they want to do. They want to keep you on the platform, and every platform wants to do the same. X wants to do the same. YouTube wants to do the same because they can show you ads then, right? And
we have a second question, Anton, about from Kalim. Does LinkedIn belong AI posts? Very good question. I love to answer this question afterwards.
Yes, and answer is yes. So what they do is, so this is technical stuff. So when you upload the article, your post, right, or video, what LinkedIn does, they actually do a quick analysis of your post, of your text. And if they classify that it's written by AI, then they suppress it. They block your post. So you get only a little bit of views because they don't want to show, actually no platform wants to show AI generated content to the audience, especially if the AI generated content is bad. They don't want to show it to people. So yes, the answer is yes. They will block your content, your posts, your articles, your videos, if it's generated by AI. And if you keep on doing that, they even block your content even more. So if you do it one time in a month, okay, they will not show that post, but the other ones, they will show it. But if you whole month or whole year, you're just uploading AI generated content, I can guarantee you they will block it and you will not get any views. Nobody will read it. And because the LinkedIn algorithm will not show it to people. So the answer is yes.
Amazing. Amazing, Anton.
There's another question. Yeah. How do
I
you
would
know?
like just quick words on the question of Khalid. And yeah, then we will jump to the next question. Yes, so LinkedIn is blocking AI posts because it's not basically interesting. And when ChatGPT and OpenAI and all other LLMs appeared, most of people tested them. I tested it too to write content with it. But let me tell you this, it's horrible. I don't recommend to write content with AI. Obviously, if English is not your main language, you can go through it and try to optimize it, your content, with better words, but don't write content only with AI. Don't do it. Because it's really horrible. LinkedIn will block it, and you feel it if a content is written by AI. So just don't do it. And then we have a second question from Lior, and he is saying that, how do you know when the algo has changed and to what? So I mentioned it before the call to Anton that LinkedIn changed the algo again. And how do we notice that? It's pretty simple. So I see it in a two ways. So we don't get notified, obviously. We feel it, we see it, we notice it. And how we do that is, if you suddenly see people who are reposting your post on your feed, you have your LinkedIn feed, and then you see people are reposting your posts. This is silly. This makes zero sense. So then you know that LinkedIn has changed their algo. You know it immediately. And then you will also know if they change their algo, most of the time, your content sucks in the beginning because the new algorithm needs also time to adapt technically. So then you have the confirmation that if your content is not performing, it's perhaps on the LinkedIn algo change. But after 1 week, your content needs to be better again. But if you see your content reposts on your feed, then you can really think about, okay, that LinkedIn has changed their algo. I'm handing over to you, Anton.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Maybe I would just summarize it in one sentence. The way you can see that the algorithm has changed is because what worked before is not working now. That means that something has changed, right? Because if your content is the same, and until yesterday it did everything really well, and now today it stopped doing really well, then you know something changed, and that means that the algorithm has changed. So I will make it that like that, very simple. Now, Kalima, like, I know this is not like a technical explanation, because I say, like, I see that what's working, what worked yesterday doesn't work today, but this is more like a feeling. But I think Faruk kind of explained it to you. You kind of start feel that something is off, and that usually means that the algorithm has changed. LinkedIn is changing algorithm a lot, especially lately. So if you're wondering, if you wanted to ask, hey, but I have seen things not working the same as before, does it mean that the algorithm has been changed lately? The answer is yes. The algorithm has been changed lately. And if I can be specific, it changed last time very strongly on 1st of November, actually. There was a big change on 1st of November, where it was really, really visible that things have changed a lot.
Amazing. Last slide, Anton.
Yep.
Q&A.
Yeah. Ask questions, please.
Yes, if you have really questions, we can speak about it. I wasn't not expecting that we will have really approximately 50 minutes with these slides. So we had really a lot of information to add. This is positive. And yeah, Q&A.
Just to say also, if you have a question that comes up later in your mind, you can always DM Faruk or myself, and
Absolutely.
ask. So it's not a problem.
Absolutely.
If there's nothing coming up now, you can always ask us later. I think that maybe that's it. I don't see any questions coming up, so maybe that's
Perfect.
it.
Thank you really very much, Anton, and you guys that you joined. It was really amazing. Also with the interactions with the questions you had, and yeah, to me, I had really fun. We can really think about it, Anton, to do it also next time.
Awesome. Let's do it. And it was a pleasure. And I hope everybody enjoyed. Lear, Kalim, Atanas, and I think Lindsay, great to have you. And yeah, if you're not connected with Faruk and myself, just send us over a message. And yeah, we'll be doing more of this. So I will inform you when there's more videos coming up soon. That's it on my side.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Wish you an amazing Sunday and see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.